Hey guys, welcome back to Drowning in Tech. Today we are going to design something you have probably been using every day, an AI coding agent. Tools like Claude Code, Cursor, they feel like magic. You type, fix this bug, and it just does it. But how does it actually work under the hood? What are the components? What are the design decisions that make this whole thing possible? That's what we are designing today. Let's get into it. Before we start designing, let's get one thing straight. What makes an AI agent different from a chatbot? A chatbot like ChatGPT is reactive. You ask, it answers. That's it. It can't touch your code, it can't run your test, it lives in a text box. An agent is different. You give it a goal like fix the login bug, and it figures out what to do. It searches your code base, read files, edits code, run test, and loops until the job is done. An agent doesn't respond, it acts. And that one difference changes everything about the architecture we need to build. Like any system design, we start by nailing down the requirements. What does the agent actually need to do? 5 things are in scope. First, understanding user intent. The agent needs to fix the login bug, and figure out what that actually means in terms of actions. Second, tool use. The agent needs to call external tools, read files, write files, run bash commands, search the web, etc. Third, the React loop. This is the core. The agent reasons, takes an action, observes the result, and repeats until the task is done. We will dive deep into this later. Fourth, context management. The agent needs to track everything that happened so far. The conversation, tool outputs, file contents, all within a fixed size window. And fifth, memory. The agent needs to remember things across sessions, your preferences, your project structure, past decisions, etc. And here is what we are keeping out of scope: permissions, error recovery, sub-agents, streaming, and session management. Each of these is deep enough to be its own video, so let me know in the comments if you want me to cover any of them next. Now, take a look at the non-functional requirements. High reliability. Imagine the agent edits your file but the write silently fails. Now it thinks the fix is done, but nothing actually changed. Every tool call must either succeed or clearly report failure. No silent corruption. We'll handle this in Harness. When a tool fails, the error goes back into context so the LLM see it and adapt. And cost efficiency. This is a big one. Every time the agent thinks it's burning LLM tokens, and tokens aren't free, the context window need to be managed carefully to avoid runaway cost. We will spend a big chunk of this video on exactly this: context compaction, selective retrieval, and memory strategies that keep token usage under control. Things like security, horizontal scalability, multi-tenancy, those are real concerns, but they are infrastructure problems, not agent design problems, out of scope for today. Now let's plan our approach. And here is a key insight that shapes the entire architecture. The LLM doesn't execute, it decides, tool execute. What does that mean? The LLM on its own can't read a file. It can't run a test, it can't edit code, it has no hands. All it can do is look at the current situation, reason about what should happen next, and say, call this tool with these arguments. The tool does the actual work and reports back. This gives us 3 design decisions that shape the entire architecture. 1. The context window is the agent's working memory. Everything it knows right now lives in that window. 2. Tools are the only interface in the world. The LLM can only act through callable functions. 3. Anything that needs to survive beyond this session has to be explicitly written to persistent storage. And these 3 design decisions naturally give us 4 components: an LLM brain, a tool registry, a context manager, and a memory store. Before we draw the architecture, let's define our core entities, the objects that flow through the system. A user message is just a raw text, fix the login bug, that's the input. A tool is a callable function, it has a name, an input schema, and an executor. Tools come in categories: file operations, search, bash execution, web access, etc. A tool call is a request from the LLM, something like read file auth.py. And a tool result is what comes back, the actual file contents. The context window is the active working memory. It holds everything the LLM can see right now. System instruction, conversation history, tool calls and their results, and loaded file contents. And memory is the information that survives after the session ends. Things like your preferences, past decisions, and project rules. We'll dig into the different types of memory later in the deep dive. So those are the objects flowing through the system: messages, tool calls, results, context, memory. Now let's see the components that actually handle them. Here is a high-level architecture. Let me build it piece by piece. At the top you have the user. They type something like fix the login bug. That prompt goes into agent harness. Now the harness is the most important piece to understand. The harness is not the LLM. It's everything around the LLM. It's the orchestrator that runs the show. Here is exactly what the harness does in each cycle. First, the context manager assembles the full prompt. It takes system instructions, loads memory from past sessions, appends conversation history, and packs it all into one context window. Second, the full context goes to the LLM brain. The LLM reads everything, reasons about it, and outputs one of the two things. And this is where the harness makes a critical decision. It inspects the LLM's output and asks, is this a tool call or is this a final response? If it's a tool call, the harness routes it to the tool registry. The tool executes, maybe it reads a file, runs a test, or searches the code base. The results get appended back to the context and the whole cycle starts again. And if the tool fails, the error goes back into the context too. The LLM sees the failure and decides what to do next. Maybe retry, maybe try a different approach. If it's a final response, the loop ends. The harness returns the answer to the user. That's the loop. Context manager builds the prompt, LLM reasons, harness routes the output, tool executes, results go back to the context, and repeat. Below all of this sits the memory store. It reads at the start of the session and written to during and after. One important thing, when people say AI made a mistake, it's often not the model, it's the harness. The context was assembled wrong or a tool result wasn't routed back properly. The model can only reason about what it can see. Now, let's deep dive into the heart of the system, the React loop. React stands for reason plus act. Here is how it works with a real example. The user types fix the login bug. The prompt enters the context window. The LLM reasons I need to find the relevant file first. So it acts. It calls search files with login. It observes the result. Two files come back and now watch the diagram. It loops right back to the reason. It reasons again. Found it. The JWT expiry check is missing. It acts, edits the file, runs the test, and observes that all tests pass. Done. The key insight here, this is a loop, not a straight line. The LLM reevaluates every single tool call. Each observation informs the next reasoning step. It might take 3 steps or 30 steps. It keeps going until the task is complete. And how does it know it's done? The LLM itself decides. When it reasons that the goal has been met, test pass, file is fixed, the question is answered, it stops calling tools and returns a final response to the user. Now let's talk about the context window. The only thing the LLM can see. At the start of every session, certain things are preloaded. System instruction that tells the model how to behave, a Claude.md file with project-specific rules, and auto memory learnings from the past sessions. But as the session progresses, the window grows. Every user message, every tool call, every tool result, it all gets appended. A single file read can add thousands of tokens. Multiply that by thousands of tool calls, and the window fills up fast. Tool outputs are the biggest culprit, and that's a problem because this window has a fixed size. Think of it like a RAM. The LLM can only process a fixed number of tokens at once, and once it's full, it can't just add more. So what happens when it fills up? This is the context dot problem, and it's more subtle than just running out of space. First, the lost in the middle effect. Imagine you give the LLM a long conversation, instructions at the top, dozens of tool calls in the middle, and your latest question at the bottom. The LLM pays strong attention to the top and the bottom, but the stuff in the middle, it starts to blur. Important details buried 50 messages ago get overlooked even though they are technically still in the window. Second, attention scales quadratically. Transformer attention is big O of n square. As tokens pile up, the compute cost and latency grows exponentially. Your agent gets slower and more expensive with every tool call. Let me show you what that looks like. Watch the meter. At the start of the session, system instructions and Claude.md load in about 15%. User sends a prompt, first tool calls go out, we are at 35%. File contents and search results start piling up, 55%. Multiple edit calls, test outputs, 78%. Things are getting heavy. 95%. Auto compaction triggers, the system clears older tool outputs, those are least useful, and then summarizes the conversation. And we are back down to 38%. Key decisions are preserved, the loop continues without missing a beat. So we have seen the problem, the context window fills up, quality degrades, cost spike. The question is, how do you make room without losing the information that matters? There are 4 strategies, each with different trade-offs. First, trimming. The simplest approach, just hard delete old messages past a certain threshold, fast but risky, you might lose important instructions from early in the conversation. Second, summarization. Instead of deleting, you ask the LLM to summarize an old conversation into a compressed paragraph. Key decisions and code snippets are preserved, verbose tool outputs are dropped. The risk is that subtle details can get lost in the compression. Third, context folding. This is more elegant. When the agent needs to do a subtask, it spawns a separate subcontext, completes the task there, and then folds back only a concise summary. The intermediate reasoning and failed attempts stay behind. Only the artifacts and decisions survive. And fourth, selective retrieval. The idea is simple. Don't load everything into the context at the start. Instead, only pull in what's relevant when the agent actually needs it. For example, if the agent has 200 tools available, you don't describe all 200 in the context. You search for the right ones based on the current task and load only those. Research suggests this alone improves the tool selection accuracy by 3x. In practice, most systems use a combination of these. Claude Code primarily uses summarization with selective retrieval for large code bases. Now the last deep dive, memory. Here is a fundamental problem. The context window is cleared when the session ends. Everything the agent learned about you, gone. So how does it remember? Through persistent memory that lives outside the context window. As you can see on the slide, there are 3 types of memory. First, semantic memory. These are the facts and knowledge about you and your project. Things like the user prefers TypeScript over JavaScript. It doesn't change often. It's the agent understanding of who you are and how you work. Second, episodic memory. These are the past decisions and their outcomes. Things that shape the project. For example, we decided to keep both REST and gRPC during the migration. Not every task gets saved here, only the decision that would affect the future work. Third, procedural memory. These are the rules and patterns for how the agent should behave. Like always write test before implementation. Think of it as the agent's muscle memory. It doesn't need to reason about these, it just follows them. Claude Code implements this with 2 mechanisms. Claude.md, a markdown file you write manually with project rules that get loaded every session. And auto memory. The agent automatically saves learning to a memory.md file as you work. For production system at scale, each type of memory needs a different kind of storage. Semantic memory, facts and knowledge, works well with a vector database because you want to search by meaning, not by exact keywords. Episodic memory, past decision, fits a key value or NoSQL store because you are looking things up by time or event. And procedural memory rules lives in memory for instant lookup because the agent needs these on every single step. But memory has a problem: staleness. Imagine the memory says use REST APIs for all the APIs, but the team switched to gRPC last week. Now, the agent is giving outdated advice based on a memory that's no longer true. Or think about accumulation. Without pruning, memories pile up over time. Old preferences competes with the current ones. The signal gets drowned in noise. The solution is active maintenance. You need mechanisms for revisions when there is a conflict. TTL based demotion for memories that age out and deletion for things that are just wrong. Memory isn't right once. If the memory says use REST for all APIs, a good agent doesn't blindly follow it. It checks the current code base first. Are we still using REST or did someone migrate to gRPC? Verify and then act. Let's put it all together with one end-to-end example. The user types fix the failing test in the auth module. Step 1. The LLM parses the intents. It understands, find failing test, diagnose the issue, fix it, and verify. Step 2. Memory kicks in. The memory.md file says user prefers fixing test before touching the implementation code. That's a preference from a past session, so the agent knows to run the test first, not jump straight into editing. Step 3. The agentic loop starts. Run test, read the error, search for the relevant file, read it, edit it, run the test again. Step 4. Midway through, the contact hits 95%. Auto compaction triggers. Older tool outputs get summarized, key decisions are preserved, the loop continues without missing a beat. Step 5. Test pass. The agent responds with what is fixed. Step 6. A new memory is written, not the fix itself, that's in the code and Git history, but something useful for the next time. Like auth module uses short-lived JWT tokens with a 50-minute expiry. That's a project fact that helps future session. That's a full cycle: intent, memory, loop, compaction, result, memory update. Let's recap what we covered. The biggest difference between the chatbot and an agent is that an agent keeps going. It reasons, acts, observes, and repeats. That loop is what makes it feel intelligent. Tools are the interface. The LLM decide, tool execute. Standard function calling makes the system extensible. Add a new tool and the agent can immediately use it. Context is the bottleneck. The window fills fast and there is no perfect solution. Only trade-off between trimming, summarization, folding, and retrieval. And memory must be actively maintained. Stale memories are worse than no memories at all. That's the system design of an AI coding agent. We went from requirements to architecture to deep dives on the React loop, context management, compaction strategies, and memory. If this helped you understand how tools like Claude Code actually work under the hood, do me a favor, hit that like button. It generally helps more people find this video. If you know someone who is curious about AI agents or preparing for system design interviews, share this with them. Subscribe if you haven't already. I break down AI and system design concepts every week. No fluff, no hype, just how things actually work. Drop a comment telling me what you want me to design next. Sub-agent, orchestration, permissions instead, safety, let me know. If you are drowning in tech, you don't have to swim alone. See you in the next one.